Welcome back to this series about Google Calendar. So here we want to start to add events to our calendar. So we're going to be adding them to the one we just made. So the one I made is my YouTube series. And there's two ways that we can add events to calendar. The first one is using the giant plus button that says create. When I do that, you might notice that it shows up right where the line is. So this is actually the current time and date when I'm making this. So it's going to give it the closest time in the 30-minute increments here. So I'm going to add a title here. So I'm going to call this record a video. You can record it whatever you want. But here we have options right here. So we're just going to leave this add event. And then right here, we can change our date out. So say if I don't want it on today, I can move it to the 13th, and you can see it automatically shifted it over to the 13th. Say I want to change my time. Say I want to make this at 6 p.m. So you can see it changed it. Since it was already set at that hour increment, I changed the end time on that. I can also make this span over a couple days if I wanted to. I can add guests. So if I want to add collaborators in here, I can add some guests here. So let's think, who should I add? Let's add my principal, Renee Dawson. There we go. And so you can see here, so it's going to start pulling up a bunch of new screens. So find a time to meet. So we can see guest availability. There's some really cool features in here. I can also just suggest times. So if I click that, I can actually see if we have shared calendars. We can actually see when we're available. What's really cool, when I click on add rooms, location, and conferencing, I can add a room in the building. So I can always say search for room IFT office, but there's no rooms found in here, so that's okay. I can also add a location. So say if we're going to meet somewhere with a large group of people, I might call this the Brambleton Library. And what it'll do is actually pull up the address for that. But we can also add a really cool thing called conferencing. As soon as I click that, it actually creates a Google Hangout link. So what will happen is, so say instead of meeting in a location, we can just meet through Google Hangout. What this does, this opens up huge possibilities. You and the people that you are collaborating with, when you set up an event, you don't have to be in the same physical location. So with Google Hangout, you can have up to 20 or 25 people in the same Hangout. We can go ahead and add description. So this will be, call this future planning with my principal. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure to set this to the right calendar. So here, when I open it up, it's actually going to list every Google Calendar I have. So I want to make sure I find the right one called YouTube series. If I click on more options, it just adds a few other options in here. Actually, just kind of expands everything so I can see it all in the one place. It also adds time zone. I can have this obviously repeat. So I can do weekly, monthly, annually. So I can set custom repeats if this is something that's going to happen on a regular basis. So in this screen, I can go ahead and hit save. And would you like to send invitation emails to Google Calendar guests? You can go ahead and, if the guest knows about it, do that. But since I am not, I'm going to hit do not send, because it'll send an automatic email to the person doing that. And my principal would get an email at 8:17 at night. I'm going to use wisdom on that one. But right here, it created a new event. You can see it's red to match my calendar. And it's in there. So if I want to go ahead and check it out, I can actually open it up. And I can see all the stats in here. If I need to make some edits, I can hit edit event. It'll bring me back to this same screen here. Underneath more actions, I can go ahead and duplicate this event. I can copy it to a different calendar. I can print it. I don't know why I would do that, but hey, if I need to have a paper copy, all good. I can also delete the event. I can email guests. And if I click on more options, it gives me that more options screen that we saw before. And I can also close that out. So that's a little bit about how to add an event. using the create button, or what you can simply do is if I just click anywhere inside a calendar, I can just do the same exact thing. So I can actually scroll to whatever date I need. So say if I have a future date coming up, I can just go ahead and click on, say, June 18th. I make sure to change my calendar to my YouTube series, and I'll say interview a guest, and I can work through the same process here. So two different ways that you can add events inside of Google Calendar.